giving up half your lifespan to go get a professor who was awful for a letter of recommendation is crazy work, y'all. Crazy work. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I have for you my review of Katabasis. And I went into this book very hesitant because of what everybody was saying, like required reading that you needed to do. It was just crazy work. But going into this, I felt like I was going to have trouble understanding it for those exact reasons. You don't need to do any of that. You can follow the story perfectly fine without doing any kind of extra work. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have read Dante's Inferno, I would assume that you would get a lot more out of it. Like you would get a lot more of the comparisons because I watched this video on YouTube that pretty much gave a brief overview of what Dante's Inferno was about. And as I was watching, I was like, "Oh, okay, like that makes sense. Like, oh, okay, I get that comparison now." Like, do you get more out of it? Yes. Is it required? No, not at all. I think it's crazy work to do everything that Alice and Peter did and go through everything that they did for a man who legitimately just did not care about them as people, as students. He pinned them against each other. He was just an awful, awful teacher who rode the coattails of a past accomplishment that he did, and then he started stealing from his students, from other people. He stole from Peter, and that was ridiculous. And especially since he kind of knew what Peter was going through and everything that Peter health wise had going on, and the fact that he used that to his advantage was awful. Professor Jacob Grimes, in my opinion, was their devil. Like, yeah, they went to hell and yeah, they went to the underworld, and technically they talked to the Lord of the Underworld, which a lot of people would assume would be the devil, but Jacob Grimes was the devil for them. He pursued younger women. He basically, I don't like, he pursued women that he never should have. He was just an awful, awful person. And the fact that Alice spurned his advances after a time and he like took it so personally, the way he was just an awful, awful person. He was the devil in the story. 100%. Alice was, I mean, a lot of people in this book were pretentious. I mean, I guess that comes with the environment that they're in, like the academic world and stuff. I'm not saying everybody in academia are pretentious, but I'm sure a good chunk of them are pretentious. Alice was pretentious to the point where she annoyed me so bad because, especially when she got into the whole aspect of the sexism and just the awful, awful treatment of women in academia, she was like, "Oh, that's normal. That's normal." She gave me pick me vibes from the very beginning, 100% pick me vibes. And she was like, what those women are fighting for don't affect me. Not at all. But ma'am, it's because of those women that you are even in academia. Like, that's crazy work. She was super annoyed. When we got further into the story and we got more into her experiences and stuff, I can understand why to a point she thought the way she did, because of how she put Professor Grimes on a pedestal. He was the end all be all. She wanted to be like him. Nobody's saying he wasn't intelligent. He wasn't intelligent. He was very smart, but he used that to just manipulate people. It was awful. It was awful. Her character development was very slow paced, and I guess that's the point, is that when her and Peter went into hell, they had to face a lot of things about themselves, especially Alice. Alice had to face a lot of inner misogyny, and she had to come to terms with the fact that the man that she idolized so much is not the person that she thought he was. And we got there eventually, and it was super nice. I like the fact that she grew on me as a character. At the end, did she still kind of annoy me? Yes, but she proved that she deserved to be in the environment and in the college and everything. She deserved to be there, not because some old dude, recommended her and stuff. She got there on her own merit. She was smart. She knew what she was doing. And it was just very, very nice to see that all come together. I also like that her and Peter, yes, there was like that little romance going on. I like that it started off as like, oh, that's my best friend, and they had a falling out because of fucking Professor Grimm. I'm going to complain about Professor Grimes like this whole time because he was just awful, awful. I get it. To me, he was 100, like I said, the devil in that whole thing. The Lord of the Underworld was not the bad person. He was. But I like that it started off as they were friends, and like as the story progressed, you saw that like obviously they were very much into each other. You can tell that Peter, liked her, loved her, whatever. You can tell that Alice also felt the same way, but she was conflicted because of their past and how, because of Professor Grimes getting involved in their relationship, he kind of pinned them against each other. So she very much questioned Peter's intentions. And that's another thing that kind of annoyed me about Alice, is that even though she got these thoughts put into her head, she was very naive and stuff. But every time somebody, especially Peter, brought up an accomplishment they got or something they succeeded in, it was a slight against her. It was automatically like, oh, he's bragging, he's bragging. No, like, you guys were friends. He wants to share this. And the fact that when he won that grant, I can't remember the name of the grant right now. The fact that he won that grant and he like was very hesitant to tell her, like, that's your friend. You should be overjoyed. Did you lose? Yes. Is that like a big hit to the ego? Yes. But also, like, you have to understand, like, that's your friend. You should be celebrating and, like, not making them feel horrible for, lack of a better way of saying, beating you at, beating you. So that's another thing about Alice. She was very, very judgmental. She was very just, yeah. And Peter's health issues really broke my heart. He really worked hard. He he went through a lot. He was also very naive. I think that's another thing, is that they show the naivety of them in the beginning of the story, and then when you get to the end of the story, you see that they kind of wised up. Maybe not as much as they probably should have, considering they went through all the shit that they went through in hell. They wised up a little bit. They realized, like, yeah, the door is going to open easier for us without him. No, like, that's not going to happen. But also, like, they can get these jobs and they can go on and do great and amazing things and on their own merit. They don't need that help. Would it be helpful if they had like all those letters of recommendation? Yes, 100%. But they don't need it. They could do that shit all on their own. They are super smart. They are hardworking. They can do it. I can see why a lot of people would be kind of put off by this book, because she does, I mean, it's an academia book. I maybe dark academia, but it's an academia book. So of course they're going to talk about academics. They're going to talk about stuff. Was there stuff in this book that I didn't understand? Yes, 100%. Did it take away from the story? No. Certain things that got brought up that I didn't understand, I went and I looked it up. And I'm obviously, not everybody wants to do that, but once again, you don't have to. It doesn't take away from the story. I feel like R.F. Kuang does a good job of kind of briefly explaining, like after she brings something up, she like briefly explains it in like layman's terms to make the reader understand. And once again, context clues. Use context clues. You can figure stuff out that way. I feel like she did a really good job in doing that. There were certain things that I did look up because I wanted to know more about it. Like, there were certain terms that she used that she explained what it meant, and I was like, I didn't even know that that had a a a name for it, like sunk cost fallacy. I didn't know that that was the name of when somebody just keeps continuing to do something, even though it's going to keep failing and failing, just because they put time, effort, money into something. Like, they continue. I didn't know that they actually had a name. I just figured that was just a saying, right? There was also a lot of vocab that I definitely had to look up, because even with context clues, I had no idea what it meant, which is fine because I like growing my vocabulary, which is awesome. Like I said, you don't need to do these things to enjoy the book. The story is still good. The story is still there. You can still follow it and follow their journey through hell and all the courts of hell, and see the lessons that they're learning about themselves as they continue going through all the trials and tribulations to try and get this dude out of hell, even though he did not deserve it. And at the end of the day, spoiler alert, obviously, for the ending, at the end of the day, they both realize that. She realizes that, and she understands like this man is not worth all the effort that they put through, because he, even at the end, he showed that he did not value their time, their effort, their intelligence. Like, he did not do that shit. He used them full on, used them, manipulated them. I'm just happy he got what he deserved. One of the things I enjoyed also about the story is that the philosophical theories that they bring up, and like how they interpret it and include it into their theories, into their scientific theories. Like, one of the things that I really really enjoyed about this book is one of the things that they brought up about how hell changes to accommodate the beliefs of the person that's there. Like, for them it was college, like it was their college, that was their hell. For other people, she even brings it up, like for other people like it'll be like Chinese temples, it'll be whatever have you. Like, it caters to the person that's there, because hell is an individualistic experience. You get what I'm saying? And it was very nice to theorize about that, because then I also started thinking, like, okay, if hell caters to the person and their beliefs when they die, and like the lessons they have to learn before they can get out of hell, what does that look like for atheists? Once again, no shade to atheists, okay? You believe what you believe, you don't believe what you don't believe. Everything is valid as long as you're not hurting anybody, right? So if that's the case, what does hell look like for atheists? Like, is it just what they like? I guess it would just cater to the lessons they would have to learn, and like learn that they didn't learn in life to move on. And it was just, it was so nice to just think about things and not have a story spoon fed to you. This story was super amazing, super good. R.F. Kuang has become one of my favorite authors. And I was never a dark academia girl, so this, her stories definitely have started pulling me to that genre. Actually, Immortal Dark did that, but then R.F. Kuang definitely is opening that up for me. I'm gonna reread Babel because I feel like I need to give that another shot. But that's another thing. So Katabasis, overall, I give it about a 4 star. It's not because, once again, it's not because of the story itself. I kind of got taken out of the story because I was posting my thoughts on it on TikTok as I was reading it, and people just started posting spoilers, and that kind of took me out of the story for a little bit. But also, there were slow parts. There were parts that I was like, we could have did without this. Also, I took away because Alice was just really, really annoying in the beginning. Really, really. And I'm a character driven person, and Alice just annoyed me to no end. I didn't like the way she treated people. I didn't like how she was a pick me. She was the ultimate pick me in this story. So yeah. 4 stars for Catabasis. Loved it. Like I said, no required reading. You can still follow the story and be perfectly fine. Would it give you a little more depth and a little more context to like the things that they went through and the references to Dante's Inferno? Yeah, it would be cool. But once again, you don't have to. It was a good story. Don't let people, don't let people put you off of a story because they think that you need to do all this extra curricular stuff. You don't. That's all I got for you guys today. I rambled enough about this book. Hopefully it was coherent. Hopefully you understand it. But yeah, that's all I got for you guys. Let me know what you're reading. Are you enjoying it? Are you not enjoying it? Let me know in the comments below, and like, subscribe if you can. And as always, stay awesome and stay safe, besties.